Let me paint a picture for you. You're in the gym, lifting heavier than ever. Shirts are feeling tighter around your arms. The scale keeps creeping up. Everything feels like progress, right? That was me recently. My goal at the beginning of last year was to bulk up to 90 kilograms. And I hit it. And in fact, I exceeded it by quite a bit. And for a while I was riding that high, convinced I was packing on more muscle than ever before. And to be fair, I was. And then one day I was out shopping with my girlfriend, and I took a photo with her in the change room mirror. When I looked back at that photo, I noticed my stomach was sticking out in a way that it never has before. And it hit me like a truck of bricks. Being chubby had kind of just snuck up on me. All those late night snacks and it's just part of the bulk excuses had finally shown up in a way that I couldn't ignore them. And here's the kicker. I still thought I looked good up until that moment. Dirty bulking has a way of tricking you into thinking you're making all the right moves. You see the scale go up, your lifts get stronger, and you convince yourself it's all muscle. But the truth is a lot of that progress is just fat. And once you reach a certain point, it's no longer just about cutting a few pounds later. It's about fighting against your own biology. When you gain a significant amount of weight, your body doesn't just store all that fat. It now has an excess, and it creates new fat cells to hold all that extra energy. This process, called fat cell hyperplasia, isn't temporary. Once those fat cells have been created, they're there and they're permanent. And unless you get something like liposuction, they're gonna stay there forever. Sure, they do shrink when you lose weight, but they never go away. It's like adding storage units to your body that you'll always have to manage. And the more you have, the harder it is to keep them empty. The problem isn't just physical and aesthetic. Those fat cells mess with your hormones. They release leptin, the hormone that tells your brain that you're full. But when you've got too many fat cells, your brain starts ignoring that signal, which leads to leptin resistance. Pair that with ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and suddenly you're stuck in a cycle where you're still feeling hungry even though you've just eaten. Unfortunately, that's not all. Increased body fat also leads to insulin resistance. Fat cells release free fatty acids and pro-inflammatory chemicals which interfere with insulin sensitivity. Your body has to release more insulin to keep blood sugar under control. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, making it easier to store fat and harder to burn it. It also increases estrogen. Fat cells contain an enzyme called aromatase, which converts free testosterone into estrogen. More fat cells equals more estrogen, which equals less testosterone for men. So you'll see increased fat storage in places like your chest and your thighs, lower libido, and less muscle gain. You also get increased cortisol sensitivity. More cortisol means more body fat, especially in your belly, and it makes it harder for you to recover. And it's quite antagonistic to gains. Another thing it reduces is growth hormone, which stops you from recovering as effectively and gives you less growth. So overall, getting fatter is going to make your gains a lot worse in the long run. And it's going to make reversing those mistakes a lot more difficult for you. That's why dirty bulking doesn't just leave you with extra fat, it leaves you with a body that wants to stay that way. Looking back, I realize how easy it is for this to happen. You're focused on strength and size, and you're not focused on what's going on in the mirror. I didn't think twice about my food choices because I was eating for the gains. But seeing that photo made me realize how important it is to stay cognizant of how you're looking so you don't take it too far. Now, if you're bulking, I'm not saying you shouldn't gain weight, but there's a right way to do it. And here's how to avoid the mistakes that I made. 1. Keep your surplus small. Stick to 200 to 300 calories above maintenance. It's enough to put on muscle without gaining excess fat, but make sure to track everything so you don't accidentally overeat without realizing it. 2. Prioritize protein. Aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight. Protein helps build muscle and it keeps you full, so you're less likely to reach for junk food. 3. Monitor your progress. Take weekly photos, weigh yourself, and use the mirror, not just the scale, to track changes. And be honest with yourself about what you see. 4. Train smart. Focus on progressive overload and compound movements to ensure you're actually making progress and aren't wasting these additional calories you're bringing in. 5. Stay consistent but flexible. If you notice fat gain creeping up faster than you like, make adjustments. A clean bulk isn't about perfection. It's about gaining muscle, staying on track without spiraling. The thing about dirty bulking is it feels good in the moment. You justify the extra food because you're training hard and it feels like it's all part of the process. But trust me, the short-term satisfaction isn't worth the long-term consequences. I'm dripping sweat, gang. The extra fat cells, the hormone changes, and the uphill battle to cut down later is not something you want to deal with. If you're already in the middle of a dirty bulk, it's not too late to course correct. Start tightening up your diet, focus on quality food, and pull back your calories a little bit. And if you haven't started yet, take this as a sign to avoid the dirty route entirely. A lean bulk might be slower, but it's more sustainable and it sets you up in the future for better long-term results without sabotaging your future self. And if, like me, you found yourself on the wrong side of a dirty bulk, here's the strategy I'm using to turn things around. 1. Fasted morning sprints. I've started doing fasted sprints in the morning to kickstart fat loss and improve cardiovascular health. Plus, it sets the tone for the rest of the day, and I find it reduces my anxiety down to next to nothing. Problem is, at the moment, it has been hammering my knees, so I'm having to switch up and try different styles from swimming to skipping to whatever else just gets your heart rate to spike. 2. Slight caloric deficit. Instead of crash dieting, I'm keeping my calorie deficit small, 300 to 500 calories below maintenance. It's sustainable, helps retain muscle mass, and keeps energy levels relatively stable. 3. Sticking to my usual workouts. My training stays consistent. I'm focusing on hypertrophy, heavy lifts, and regular workouts, following my upper-lower split that you can see in the description below if you want, because maintaining muscle mass during a cut is just as important as the calorie deficit. And 4. Prioritizing protein. Protein remains the foundation of my diet. It's the most important part of every single meal. It ensures I recover well and maintain muscle mass. Building muscle is a slow process, and no shortcut is worth compromising your results down the line. Take it from someone who's been there. Don't let impatience ruin your goals. Be mindful, be consistent, and you'll build a physique that you can be very proud of, without the baggage of an excess dirty bulk holding you back. Anyway, thanks for watching, gang.